What is going on, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, ladies? Welcome to Collecting Profit, episode number 73. 70 freaking 3, man. 73 weeks in a row. Our guest, Ivan from Watch the Breaks, was having a little bit of a PC issue, so he's getting booted up. He should be getting on soon, any minute now. We'll get him in. Hope everybody's doing well. We did have Matty Ice in the house. We did have Fraylin in the house. So hope everybody's doing pretty good. And we got basketball going on. Got hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs. Matty, tough one for your Pacers last night, but you'll have to excuse me if I don't shed a tear, Matthew. You'll have to excuse me if I do not shed a tear. But all's going pretty good. Like I said, really can't complain. Not exactly sure what is going on with the YouTubery, because it says that it's waiting for me to start the show. Is YouTube live for you guys? Do you see it? It says I'm live here. No. Anything now? Now? Which one? Mm-hmm. Oh, you see Dami. I got a no in the chat. Uh-oh. Brother domination. Matty Bomb Stinks, Sean Jedi Master. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ivan.
Check.
Oh, hey, I got you loud and clear.
Awesome.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Hey, are we? Is this recording or is this live?
This is live, so be careful what you say.
Hey, everybody. No, don't worry. I wouldn't say anything here that I wouldn't say in front of my grandma, anyways.
There you go.
My grandma's deaf. My grandma's deaf, so.
Well, that's okay.
I'm doing great, Michael. I'm glad we can finally talk face to face.
And
everybody that's watching live or watching after the fact, hello.
Yeah,
how are you?
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on.
Yeah, well, it works out well. They just got the youngest child to bed, so.
There you go. That's what. My youngest turned 24 last month.
Ours is 24 months.
Oh,
the age
wow.
Where you can stop counting the months. So
that's pretty cool. So how are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Give me just another second. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I post this. I see that we're live on Twitter as well. Hey, everybody on Twitter. So give me just a second. I'm going to get this posted as well for anybody that wants to come in and check it out. Actually, Mike, so we've only talked in DMs.
Yes.
I'd love to hear a little bit about, tell me just a little bit about what you want to cover tonight, because I know this is collecting profit.
So
what's on your mind?
it's a combination. So we do talk a lot. We do talk reselling, but we talk collecting. We talk about thoughts about the hobby. Anything and everything to do, with the hobby, the good, the bad, and unfortunately, the ugly. Um, it's about your channel, what you do on X, what you do on Instagram, and just so everybody knows, Ivan's links for X and for Instagram are below. So please feel free to go ahead and check him out, follow him on those two platforms and everything, and just talk about about your experiences. If you buy and you sell, that's great. If you collect PC, what you PC, all that. Basically, it's really it's hobby chat. And again, we do go ahead and talk about the selling aspect of it, not necessarily just like, hey, what do you buy, what do I buy, stuff like that, but what do you think about the way the hobby is going, the prices, the so on and so forth, some of the craziness that is out there.
Yeah, very cool. Well, awesome. Well, I'm ready. I just shared it out, and so hopefully we get some more friends checking this out and hanging out with us. I don't have YouTube open just so I'm not going too many places. So if you see any YouTube comments come in, just read them out, or questions too.
I most certainly will. There will be questions and everything like that. So, but so go ahead. Like I said, everybody, this is Ivan. Give you the time. Go ahead and introduce, say anything you want to say, open up, tell us a little bit about about you, and then we'll just start chit-chatting, man.
Sounds fun. Well, cool. Well, I'm Ivan. A lot of collectors know me by my stage name or my online name, which is Watch the Breaks. That actually comes from a YouTube series I did a decade ago. Man, time flies. I was much skinnier and handsomer and less gray. A decade ago, about my foibles as a collector. So it's a comedy series, and it was called The Breaks. So that's why my handle was Watch the Breaks. But so I've been collected since I was a kid. Got back into collecting around 2011 with the football season that year, and then really got heavy into Chris Bryant when he was a prospect still with the Cubs. He's still my favorite player. We won a World Series. When I can find the right size screw, because we moved a year ago and I lost the screw, this will go back up on my wall right behind me in that gap.
Oh, nice.
And so you see the middle row is all Cubs. That's my main PC. Along with some other
another
cards.
Cubs guy, Matty Ice in the YouTube chat. He is a big Cubs fan.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's awesome. So, yeah, these aren't even entirely my favorite Cubs cards. My ultimate favorite is the 2014 Chris Bryant Bowman Chrome Auto.
Oh,
but
nice.
This slab holder is for PSA, and I only have that card in a BGS. So, but I love that heritage action variation, because that's actually the moment they won the World Series right there on a Topps trading card. So
that's very cool.
Yeah. How about you, Michael? What do you collect?
I from a baseball perspective, I mean mostly baseball. I'm a Mets fan, so I go ahead. My son and I, big Mets fan, so we go ahead and collect Mets. I like from a person, just like I want a player. I am actually a Fred Lynn collector. I collect Fred
that's
Lynn.
Cool. I like that he's been really engaging with collectors lately too.
He has. His X is really, really good, and and what I find amazing about him is not. I don't know. I mean, I don't look at every single comment, but a lot of the comments you do see, he does go ahead and respond, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you love
and he has such a really good auto. I mean, you talk about a guy who, when you look at his cards and you get his autos, I mean, compared to what you see on some of the Bowman ones today, it's like he cares about the autograph that he's putting on the card.
Yeah,
which unfortunately, too many players now, you don't even see that. Some, maybe they go ahead and give you, an initial and a number, maybe, and then other ones, like I was looking at the Ellie De La Cruz autograph, and I'm like, does that really say Ellie De La Cruz?
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, it's like, and then it's just a big squiggly line at the end. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Your last name has two breaks in it. It's
Yeah.
Day, then it's Line, then it's Cruz. It shouldn't just be one squiggly line.
Yeah. If nothing else, find a creative way to keep it short, but find a creative way to make it artistic. I love, like Chris Bryant, he shortened his signature, but it still has some creativity to it that I really enjoy, but I just sent you a DM actually over on Twitter because I posted a tweet earlier today that I know how you're going to answer, but you definitely need to answer this one. It was which Gary Carter is your Gary Carter, and it's is it the Expos or the Mets Gary Carter?
It's the kid. It's the Mets. He won with the Mets, man. I mean, but I tell you, he does look. I like the Expo card, but but he won with the Mets and everything. He was a big part of that run in the mid '80s, especially that '86 championship and stuff like that. So yeah, it's amazing how because I was still living in New York at that time. It's amazing how the city really took to him. It just goes to show you what type of player he was, because he was with Montreal when he came to town. It was like, you dirty rat, you do something good, you suck, and then all of a sudden, whoop, you change uniform, man, we love you now.
Yeah,
and then he kept performing and stuff,
Mm-hmm. That's
great. But that's all right. Hey, man, I'm glad we could go ahead and help the Cubs out by giving you PCA, who should turn out to be a really good player for friggin' Javi Baez. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad we could help you out and send you washed Javi Baez.
Oh my gosh! I mean, talk about a guy who. I'm not saying that he went ahead and not that he was like, oh my gosh, but a guy was a potential MVP guy to now it seems as though
he was on MLB The Show. He was the cover athlete on MLB The Show the year before it all changed. Like,
and all of a sudden,
yep, yeah. I mean, technically, same thing happened with Chris Bryant, where he is now mired in the dog crap, but he's still my favorite player. What he gave us at the Cubs, those magical seasons, never be topped.
I'm that way. I mean, even the Mets going through some serious hardship and stuff like that. Hoping the young kids can go ahead and come up. And there's a lot of young talent potential. I should say. I don't want to call it talent. There's a lot of potential, and who knows? Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But I don't know. It's good to see. But the Cubs playing very very good baseball. They got some good young guys. And stuff. It should be interesting and everything from that standpoint. But what do you think about the hobby? I mean, you collect, so you go to shows to collect. You just get on eBay. I know you have District, which I would like you to go ahead and. Well, actually, before we talk about that stuff, District.net. I don't know if a lot of people know what that is. I've heard about it. I don't know a lot about it, but could you explain what District.net is?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you, Michael. So my day job now is no longer full-time Twitter like it used to be, seemingly. No, now I actually work as the community lead for a site called District.net. And what District does is it powers community marketplaces. So a lot of people are used to platforms, eBay, Whatnot, Loop, Drip, MySlabs, and Amazon. Heck, Amazon's a platform. Don't forget that, right? And all those platforms were built the same direction. We're the platform. We go out and acquire users, come sell on our platform because we bring you buyers. If you're an existing community, though, if you already have a following, or maybe you've created something like a unique YouTube around a certain hobby or a Facebook group with tens of thousands of members, you're not incentivized to move to those platforms because ultimately the same direction they're built, we acquire users and we spread them across the platform, hurts you if you already have people that are with you, right? So if you're a big YouTuber and you're going to go live stream on a different app, you're going to tell all your people, all your community to go download that app so they can watch you. And then the second you're done being live, now that app is telling them, guess who else is live? Guess who else is selling? Buy from here, buy from there. They're taking the users and peanut buttering them across the site. So our founders had this idea, what if we built a place where communities and creators are actually incentivized to build up their own marketplace? So district.net is the housing for that, but inside of district.net, you've got tons, literally hundreds of unique communities. So we have a ton for sports cards. Some of our most popular ones, Midwest Box Breaks, just hit 5,000 members. But here's the thing about Midwest Box Breaks. Even though it's named after Midwest Box Breaks, he has multiple other breakers that go live there. Every Monday, he has Monday Madness, where individuals in the community can go live and auction their cards live like you would on other sites, but they're doing it on his platform. There's every single day, there's new cards that are listed at async auction that are ending. So you could go right now and bid on some cards. So that's one example, but it goes as far from there as we actually have a community for women's soccer cards. And everybody in that community is a women's soccer card collector. Nobody's just joining there to follow, right? They're all fans. They're all, excited about that. And because of that, even though it's got 10% as many members as Midwest Box Breaks, it's got about a little under 500 members. Well, 500 members that all love women's soccer, that are showing up to use the social tools, the chats, go live when their mail day comes in. That engagement also creates strong activity around the listings, to where I had 3 sales this past week of single cards that were listed there, and I wake up in the morning and it's like, hey, my Olivia Moultrie rookie card just sold, my, actually this one needs to get listed. I don't know if you follow women's soccer much, but Mallory Pugh, Swanson.
Oh, that's a pretty big autograph. Dansby's wife.
Yeah. We call him Mallory's husband, but and I'm even a Cubs fan. No, so the site is organized by communities.
Okay, so basically, you're the mall, and the channels are like different stores in the mall.
No. So this is what's really cool. So that's the way every other platform is. It's like, hey, I got my eBay profile. You're on eBay. Come check out my profile, and then go check out Michael's profile. Well, here, if you have that community, you're the mall. And you're saying, hey, Midwest is the mall.
Oh.
Come into Midwest and check out Zebra. He's going to be on the main stage at our mall Thursday and Saturday. Come check out on Monday night. It's going to be open mic night, where Hondo and Be Rich and Ivan are going to go live with singles back to back to back. Or, hey, check out these auctions that are going on right now in our mall. So it's really giving others the ability to create a mall where I can go in and be a seller or a buyer or a member. And that member side is also what's really important, because every other e-commerce platform is an e-commerce platform, highly transactional. I even get people on some of the live selling apps that are like, they come on to meetings with me like, hey, I want to see what this is about. And they're like, yeah, we have this great community. And I'm like, well, is it a community if the second you're done being live, they're on to someone else? And they're like, well, no, not really. That's what we're missing. And I said, yeah, you're missing community. So we have 24/7 communities, live chats, ongoing chat streams. Anybody can spin up live in your community that you allow. So it doesn't end once you're done talking. It goes on. And so that's what's really unique, is people show up there to hang out and see their friends, and it's why they'd like to do commerce there.
Oh, wow. That is very cool. Like I said, I had heard about, I did not understand what you just said. I mean, I knew it was a selling platform and stuff like that. And, I used to be I used to, when I first got into reselling, I was an everything resale, whatever it was. I'd go to the yard sales, garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, and all the stuff, and, I might buy a jacket, I might buy a piece of a coffee mug, whatever it may be, right? Throw it on eBay and so on and so forth. So some of the people from that part talked about district and everything, trash to cash, some of those.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Like Kevin and those guys and a couple of those. And then I was like, wait a minute, Midwest. And I saw Midwest one time show up. I was like, oh, whole sports card stuff too. And so, like I said, I know
Yeah.
about it, but I didn't
And
understand
so that's
the
actually the
working.
really interesting part. And then we'll move back to just cards. But the really interesting part is, and why I love it and why I fought to actually get this job with them. Like, I left my day job on spec to work for them part-time to try to earn my way into this full-time role. That's how
Oh
much
wow.
I believe in it. Is because there is that. It's not just sports cards. It's not the new platform for sports cards. It's, if you are a YouTuber who talks about reselling plush and you've got a community of 300,000 people that love talking about that with you, well, you're going to get more traction than if you go on some of those other platforms. So why not build your own?
Right.
I've been on other platforms and I've seen where their top live stream had 30 people on it. Well, if you've got 1 million followers on YouTube and you go live and your stream is coming from this site, but it's going through to your YouTube, you're going to get more followers and more viewers than some of those other platforms will bring you. So why go there instead of build your own? So we have really robust communities around mechanical keyboards. It's the funniest thing, but people that make, I've always been just an out of the box buy a Logitech guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm coming on board with this, like, creative keyboards that have keycaps that you can change where the sound is an issue. Like, do you want it to sound this way or that way? Well, we've got a marketplace for that. The Trash to Cash guys, they have a marketplace that's all nostalgia. So it's 80s, 90s, 2000s toys, neon stuff, really the cool, fun things from our childhood. We've got a board game marketplace coming really soon. We've got marketplace. Antiques are actually bigger than sports cards right now. Like, we've got
Really.
some antique communities that are huge, 20,000 plus members. So it really is a place where anyone that has a community can build a marketplace for that community or a
So when
mall
you're
for that.
looking at what you have going on, so like, just, I don't want to take it back to sports cards because I like to talk
Yeah,
about
let's
everything,
let's go.
but about the sports card perspective. So, for instance, that single card that you just sold,
Yeah.
um, everything, is it a transaction outside of district between you and I? Like, is there the offering of like the eBay standard envelope, the standard envelope pricing to where someone's not paying $4 to ship, you know, a $3 card? Is it, kind of like eBay where you can go and where you see a lot of, the $2 cards and stuff like that? Is that the type of stuff you're seeing on district, or is it more of the, not higher end, but the lower, the 20s, 30s and up type stuff?
So here's what's really cool is there's no actual set answer to what we're seeing on district, because again, I love and appreciate the platform to talk about it. It's not on district, it's on Midwest Box Breaks, or it's on Crack and Wax, or it's on Card Culture. Each of our communities has a very unique vibe, very unique feeling. Even ones that you would think are the same, two different baseball breakers. Well, they still have really different vibes and really different communities that follow them. So we see the full range. It's really, really cool. I sold a $100 women's soccer card the other day, and I sold a $3 women's soccer card the other day. Like, both of those things. I will say one specific question, for resellers, and I don't even like calling them resellers. Every collector, 99% of them, I've met a few outliers, and I have massive respect for people that don't have to sell to collect. But if you're collecting, you have to sell to collect, right? It's like, hey, I got this and I don't need it as much as I need the other thing. Reseller is a dirty word versus like the fact that we're all going to sell some of this stuff to get the other stuff. The eBay standard envelope. So we do not have that. However, we do support shipping without tracking. And as long as there's no issue, it goes through. And what we've seen way broader around the platform is simply because of this community first approach, we don't see people show up trying to take advantage of the system. Also, we're able to monitor that. If somebody reports 3 times in a row that an item didn't show up, we're going to start getting suspicious of them.
Right.
Versus getting suspicious of the sellers with a really strong track record. And so, like, I mean, heck, full transparency, and we're here talking reselling. I sold $100 soccer card actually the other day on eBay as well. Shows up, person says, well, I can't resell this. It's not in as great of condition as I thought it was. I'm like, dude, I mean, I get it. It's $100 card. Maybe I should care a little more, but it's like, I took pictures of the card and posted it. It's for collectors. If it was a different player that I collected, I would have just kept it. And I, had to deal with the return there on eBay. And we don't see people with that same demeanor and perspective. They just don't use district because of the community side. So,
right, that's what I was saying. It makes sense because, like you said, if you have a following, and no matter how big it is, if you make that community, and like to your point, even if it's, let's say, 5 or 6 people that come together, whatever it may be, and each one has their own little following, when you, if I would, if I were to go ahead, and join, and I was in your, your community on district, people who follow me, maybe, they're going to say, well, hey, Michael's not going to hang around with somebody who's not going to be honest, right?
Yeah.
So you breed the honesty, so you can see how it, you can see how it will, work out to where you won't have that type of, well, like hit or miss type thing, right? Like you said, if it's someone that follows you, they pretty much trust you, right? And back and forth from that standpoint and everything.
And that's what happens is they may not follow you, but they follow Michael, and you're in Michael's community. So they at least know, like, well, hey, I don't know this person. I think Michael knows that person. And similarly, they don't know me, but they know that Michael knows me.
Right.
And so overall, it's not to say there isn't any issues, but the amount, like last year, I can literally count on my hand how many legit issues there were where it was like, nope, this is somebody trying to pull something. And I had more than that on eBay with like 200 total sales on eBay. I had like 12, 15 issues, right? Versus tens of thousands of transactions on our site. What's up, your buddy Dom? I see that. You collect women's soccer cards. Nice. Any particular teams? Houston Dash? Oh, I love it.
Yeah, Sean and everything. Matty Ice had a question. Where the heck is it? Your favorite current Cub?
That's tricky because the Cubs keep doing this up and down thing with their prospects and rookies where it's like they're up and down. So I'd have to say Christopher Morel. I am an absolute Pete Crow Armstrong stan, though. I know he's not a slugger. I know he's never going to be the big home run king of the team. But I've been following him since high school. I lived in Los Angeles when he was in high school in LA.
Oh,
I was hoping that the Cubs would draft him, and then he went to the Mets instead. And then the Cubs somehow managed to get him. So I'm very hopeful for him to have a long career with us. But I love the way Christopher Morel plays as well. He's just a great ball player.
Good young talent. Definitely good young talent.
Michael, who's your favorite current Mets player?
I would say mine is he's hurt, but it's Francisco Alvarez.
Oh yeah. He's got a good career ahead of him too, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope he does. I mean, got some talent. Like I said, I don't know. It's weird because you have it's sometimes this year is weird for the Mets because it's almost, even though they have a high payroll, they seem to almost have like a small market mentality. From that, I know. I mean, all Mets fans. Dom is a Mets fan. We are all, we're preparing to see Pete Alonso get traded. Which is really going to suck because that, I mean, there's a guy who really wants to be there, embraces the city and all this other kind of stuff and everything. So
yeah,
it's going to, like I said, it's going to be, it's like I said, it's just weird because, they have veterans that have contracts that you really can't get rid of to make space for the young guys. So what are you going to do? So we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, the funny thing is I mean, the pitching is what's going to go ahead and be the thing and there's only there's only a few pitchers, um, down there and everything. So so Maddie says his is Nico, but if Shota keeps up his fan friendly attitude, he'll be there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love Shota. I love Seiya. Don't dislike Nico. Don't dislike Dansby. They're good guys.
Yep.
There's no one on the club I dislike. I do have the funny anecdote of there was a player I used to really love who I actually got to know another player, and knowing the other player and hearing the stories, I'm like, oh man, now I don't like that player that I used to like anymore. So sometimes it's good, like don't meet your heroes, but I like the current roster really does make things look fun, look like they care, more than the management does.
Yeah. So what do you think about the market? I mean, how do you from being on a platform, as you are, what are you thinking about how the prices are? I mean, where we are and with the way, things go.
So it depends on which prices you're talking about, really. I think that, so my job before this was I was a financial advisor in Los Angeles, mainly to business owners. And so I learned a lot of philosophy of markets. And one that has always really stuck with me is what's called the efficient market hypothesis, which basically says, at any given moment, there is X amount of information about a company that's available. And there are, in this current world with computers and with how many people this is their full-time job, there are literally millions of eyeballs looking at that company at any given time and saying, this company is undervalued, this company is overvalued. And a market price is generally all of that information aggregated, and the price today is a reflection of that. So it's a very clear reflection of how many people are bullish, how many people are bearish. So I believe that if we want to look at sports cards as a market, and there's lots of marketplaces where you can get them that are very public and people are scouring constantly and saving search results. I believe that markets are capitalistic and really reflect current feelings and sentiments. I think that there's a propensity among collectors and among those that are in the hobby as a market to chase what's new. And I don't think expectations can ever be met. So there's the old adage, sell the news, buy the hype, sell the news. No, sell the hype.
Sell the hype, buy the news.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's very, very true. Like, keep an eye out. That said, this is the thing about efficient markets and about market tropes. The minute that you start doing X, because that's what you keep seeing, everybody does that. Never buy cards on release week, right?
Right.
We hear that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you don't, that's the guy who was actually less popular at release, who then goes and becomes an all-star, right?
Right.
So you can never, the second you have an absolute rule on how to hobby is the second that it changes. It used to be buy the off season. That was always the trope. Buy the off season. Cards go down in the off season. Well, not anymore. A lot of sports now are at their peak in the off season. And then the players start playing and everybody realizes, oh, this guy actually sucks. Oh, 40 home runs is really hard to find. 40 stolen bases is nearly impossible. And they start dropping. Whereas during the off season, everybody can be a 40 home run guy next year.
Right. True.
So I don't ascribe to any particular philosophy that has to be true. It's only going to go down. But I will say the one thing I've seen too much of is people thinking it's going to go up after something big and then it goes down because everybody thought it was going to go up, which means they started acting as if it was going to go up, and acting as if it was going to go up causes going up. So, one big thing overall is they're going to keep making new cards.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to get more supply, which means they have to be working to grow the hobby. I have my thoughts on if Topps and Panini have been doing that well. I will say, while I think they've ignored some major growth segments in favor of doing what's just traditional, there's been a few inklings lately that I find really interesting. One of them just happened this past week. Did you see the card that Topps made for the woman who got hit by the foul ball or the foul or home run?
Yeah, the Bo Bichette one, right? It was
yeah,
and they made 110 copies or something like that, or I forgot what, or I don't know if they're numbered or whatever it was, but yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was 110 mile per hour was how fast it came off the bat. So they made 110 of them and just sent it to that one fan. And that story versus the Tom Brady card in Bowman, which I don't think the Tom Brady card in Bowman was widely reported. I don't know that it moved the needle on collectors buying Bowman or new people buying Bowman because the price point is so absurd. However, I feel like that Topps Now story got shared by Fox Sports. It was shared by ESPN Sports. And that's the kind of thing that I think actually motivates new people to check something out, to check out Topps, to check this, these sorts of things out. So I don't know. I'm still really torn. 2 years ago at the Topps Industry Summit, actually 3 summits ago now, 2 years, but 3 summits ago, they were talking about 10xing the hobby.
Yeah.
And honestly, the last 2 years, I have not seen that activity from them. But I'm hopeful that it is starting to change and that they're at least, they got to take the feedback of when something doesn't work. They can't just say, oh, well, we're going to raise prices. We have control. We're going to raise prices. And not recognize when they raise prices on a product and they lower the configuration, make it even worse. And then it's $100 cheaper on the secondary market 2 months after release.
But I think it was up. But you see, here's what I wondered about that 10x the hobby. Mm-hmm. Was it 10x the number of people, or 10x the value of the hobby? Because those are two very different. Those are different things. And to me, if you're trying, and I wondered, to me, I thought it was more on the economic side. And the reason why I say that is when you all of a sudden take over, and what do you do when you say, hey, we're not going to do Topps Fire anymore, we're not going to do Topps Gallery anymore, we're not going to do Gypsy Queen anymore, we're not going to do opening day anymore. When you all of a sudden you start chopping things away, well, okay, so does that mean you're just going to print the crap out of everything else? Or are you going to try and squeeze down a little more and grow the hobby from a more economical standpoint than a participation standpoint?
So I would argue it's probably the former, actually, that it is the participation side. And the reason I would say that is because in the initial, so I went to the Topps Industry Conference the year, it was just a few months after Fanatics bought Topps. So Fanatics was there talking about all their plans. One of the big things that they shared was the metric of, we estimate that there's about 3 million people. I think they said it was 3 or 5, somewhere in there. I know those are big numbers for a range, but that's how many collectors there are. And yet on Fanatics, we know, because we have data and we track everything, which is something that the card companies seem to really not have done, which is the craziest part, is the card companies seem to have been run very much like small businesses, even as big as they got. They said, Fanatics data says that there's 98 million people that buy sports items. So if there's 98 million that are buying sports items from Fanatics and only 3 million are buying cards, well, we see a big opportunity. Right. And I agree. That seems like a big opportunity. So that's where the conversion for me matters the most. And I would say, actually, interesting. This is probably another reason why, for the first time in 2 years, because so I went back to the conference last year and I was like, they've done none of what they talked about. It felt like,
Yeah.
and I asked some questions about that, and well, I'll say in just the last few months, another thing that is really interesting to me is how much the Topps social media account seems focused, and not just Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, seems to be highlighting hits from blasters. Have you noticed
Yes.
that?
I actually was on Topps's their first their rips of the first video that they put out of top rips of during 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I was on there.
Oh, wow.
I out of Chrome out of Platinum Anniversary, I pulled a 9 out of 50 Derek Jeter gold on card autograph.
That's sick.
And it
Congrats.
was funny because they sent me an email and I'm like, yeah, sure, this is Christian from Tops. And I'm like, well, no, wait, because you're phishing email. So what do? You're saying, okay, T-O-P, ooh, Tops is spelled right. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
If every other word spelled correctly, yeah, it is. And the name looks real. So I was like, you know what? Let me see. So because they asked, they said, hey, we saw we saw about you, and I was on If Sports had clipped
Oh,
that
yeah.
also, and it was submitted to If Sports. um, and he replied back and were like, "Hey, we'd like to use your clip and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, you got it. I give you my approval. We'll see what happens." And I wasn't paying. And then all of a sudden, like a buddy of mine was like, "Dude, like what?" He goes, "Did you see the Tops video?" I'm like, "No, what's up the Tops video?" He goes, "You're in the damn video." I'm like, "What?" So that was pretty cool and
That's fun.
everything.
That's
Yeah, we
awesome.
got a question from Dusty. Uh, what do you buy most of? Break singles of players you PC, boxes to open when you're acquiring your cards?
Yeah. So this is the other thing is that um, there definitely is a shift in box prices getting more expensive. And it's happened while there's been an inflection where a lot of the singles prices have gone down. So I've gotten much more into singles buying. That said, arguably a homer because it's district.net. But I love one thing we have a lot of our communities that do is player breaks. So they'll do a full case, but they'll auction it off by the player. And I love that because let's say, who's the biggest rookie this year? Uh,
Well, like
actually,
for instance, like Dusty is a Ellie De La Cruz guy,
yeah. So
so
if you're,
he has the opportunity to get just Ellie De La Cruz. Is what you're
well,
saying?
so let's flip the script on that though. Let's say I'm a Reds guy.
Uh huh.
Let's say I love Joey Votto. He's been with the team for forever. I want his cards. But the Reds actually have two rookies this year. They have Ellie and they have Christian Encarnacion Strand. So that means the Reds are through the roof on break pricing, right? Well, if I want a case full of those guys or Spencer Steer, right?
Yeah.
The new was he a rookie last year? Is he a rookie this year? I forget when, but he's popular. So let's say I want all of him. Well, there's guys out there that are doing a case rip of Tops, Bowman, and I can get all of Spencer Steer's cards for just a few bucks instead of having to pay $140 for the red spot because of Ellie.
Mm.
Or because of whatever other prospect is in, with Bowman.
Yeah.
Right now, actually, we have one for Firehand cards. They're one of our communities. They've got Platinum Anniversary up there.
Yep.
Well, that's a fun product, but also a huge checklist. I don't actually want all the Cubs from that, but I might want Ryan Sandberg. And so if I can pay $3 and just get all the Ryan Sandbergs, that's really fun to me, especially if then you do hit an auto or you do hit a relic. In fact, I got one right over here. I got a PCA relic from a Heritage player break where I didn't have to pay the full price for the Cubs. I just got my PCA, and I think I got Justin Steele in that one. So that's a unique format that I've been getting into a bit more. That and then just buying the singles I want. It's not actually a sports card. Is
Well, I
that
tell you,
allowed?
and
Can I go
while you're
non-sports?
looking for that though, but like to your point though, Platinum Anniversary is really I mean, man, I'm gonna have to look for that because when you think about it, you may like a player, or you like Texas, and there may be someone on Texas that you normally would not be able to go ahead and get because it's, let's say, it's not a current player, so that player wouldn't be in, flagship, wouldn't be
Yeah.
in Bowman or anything like that. But in a platinum anniversary, if you like, Nolan Ryan, and Nolan Ryan is on Rangers, you could bid on just Nolan Ryan. Or if you like, if you're a White Sox fan and Dick Allen is in there, or somebody along those, so
So
that's
Michael,
definitely.
check this out. I'm going to DM you again. No one
Uh-huh.
else from the group go there, but everybody else go to firehandcards.net. Firehandcards.net. That'll automatically take you to Firehand Cards' district community. I just DM'd you, Mike, Fred Lynn spot.
Ooh.
You don't want the Red Sox, right? You don't want to pay for Rafael Devers and Sedan
No.
Rafaela,
No.
but you're a big Fred Lynn collector in addition to your Mets guys.
Yeah.
Similarly, Gary Carter this year, he's actually an Expo card. So you don't want Gary Carter, and you don't want necessarily the Mets team if
Right.
he's not going to have those players that are on different team rosters. So Fred Lynn has 0 bids at $1. It ends tomorrow. So I just sent that to you. Go out there and bid $1 and get all the Fred Lynn from that platinum anniversary break.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm gonna have to join district. That's pretty cool. That's great. And then to your point, oh wow. I saw that you
Sorry,
did post that one.
shifting the conversation a bit, but I just picked up Walton Goggins. If you follow this actor,
Yeah, did you put that on Instagram? Or was
yep,
that on X?
I put it everywhere. I'm
Okay.
so excited that I got one of these. His rookie card is from his turn as Venus Van Dam in Sons of Anarchy, and it's an autograph only. He didn't have a base card in that set, but they had him as an autograph signer. And he's in Fallout right now, which is pretty popular. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of that actor. So it was fun to pick up his card. Also, I'm pretty sure it's arguably the most notable rookie card that's of someone in drag.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you might be right about that. But the player break thing, yeah, yeah, that is definitely, yeah. I'm definitely going to check that out because that is definitely something that it makes a lot of sense, especially like you're saying, in certain products. I mean, or whoever it may be. I mean, hey, I mean, like you said, for the Dodgers, let's say in flagship, right? Or in like when whatever, like, even if it's like a product like Big League, right? But the Dodgers, because people knew you could get Shohei in a Dodgers uniform, you can get Yamamoto also. But if you're an Outman guy, to your
Yep.
point, why not pay $1 for Outman rather than having to pay a lot? And not saying that you wouldn't want the Shoheis or the or the Yamamotos, but if you're, but to your point, you really want your guy instead. You don't want to spend that much money, but you still would like him. I like that idea. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great because if I go and buy a blaster box, it's $25, maybe $30 now for a blaster, depending on the product, and it's a complete hodgepodge. Whereas if I go and once a week spend 12 to 18 bucks on player breaks from some of these guys, I'm going to get a bunch of Cubs that I want,
Right.
or very specific prospects or other players that I want. And generally it comes in less than a blaster. So I've kind of moved my weekly budget over into that, and I have a lot more fun with it. The mail days are fun still, sets. No, dear God, no. I'll be the first person. I have absolute respect for those who do. I am not a completist by any means, and I just never go back through them. Probably the last time I attempted was like 2014. I wanted the Bowman. They had the silver ice parallels in there that are like a non-numbered parallel. They're not super rare, but I wanted the complete set of that, and I get burnt out on it. I don't have enough time or space. I got 3 kids right now that are under the age of 10. One's barely 2. So, yep.
Boom.
Hey, Matty Ice Cards just joined district. Welcome. That said, again, something for everybody. Midwest has a chat channel for set building.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not for me, but there's somebody out. There's a whole bunch of people that do, and it's not the kind of place where people say, "Oh, I can't believe you do that." It's like, okay, we'll go find the community that does do that, and go
Yeah,
have
and
some
it's
fun.
it's like, building sets is like the whole, rainbow thing. And I give people credit who can go ahead and do what it takes to do that. But I think, sometimes it's funny that people don't understand, how hard that really is, because, it, I mean, you think about the factors that have to happen is, especially with the low numbered stuff. Number one, you have to hope it gets open. Number two, you have to hope that whoever opened it doesn't like that player. Number three, you
Yep.
have to hope they decide to sell. And then number four, you have to hope that you go ahead and actually see it when it's actually up for sale. So the rainbow stuff, always always got me. Oh, and just so you know, I'm you have competition for Sandberg now.
Oh my, I'm gonna have to pay $3 now instead of $1. That's what's so cool is like generally like also again efficient markets. Nobody's going out there and paying $20 just for Ryan Sandberg. It'd be cool if
Right.
we had that much competition, I guess. But ultimately, it's like everybody kind of knows the value. So I don't mind a little competition here and there. Maybe one time you'll win Sandberg, and I'll bid extra on PCA because of that.
Yeah.
But that's the fun part of it. You brought up something else that I found that I thought of. Oh, you were talking about rainbows. So there is one rainbow that I want to complete. I do have that as far as completionism or sets, and that's my favorite card. The nice thing is I know the one of one is known where it's at. That's the tough thing about rainbows is
Yeah.
someone could pull a one of one that doesn't know the hobby really well. Like a one of one could be lost if you haven't seen it, if it hasn't been revealed. Really
Yep.
scary to try to start a rainbow if the one of one isn't on a pop report somewhere.
Oh yeah.
The rainbow that I want to complete, the one of one is known, it's found, it's been at a bunch of card shows, and the price is $8,000 more than I'm willing to pay, and I'm just waiting. It might be 5, it might be 10 years, but I will
Yep.
own that card one day because for better or for worse, Chris Bryant stinks at baseball now. So
Right.
one day.
It'll come down a little bit, and everything,
Yep.
But yeah. So you do, the women's soccer and everything. I'm sure you follow, sports, and you're looking at, the WNBA and everything. And we were talking about it, last week in the chat and everything. And remember you were talking about earlier about, the financial part about, the markets and so on and so forth. What I'm curious is this, Caitlin Clark, and I'm just comparing the two. I'm going to say Connor Bedard. And now I'm not comparing the abilities in the sport or anything like that. But you look at what Connor Bedard did for Upper Deck with some of their pricing and the resale market on that thing. Not saying equal dollar values, that if a Connor Bedard rookie card went for 10,000, that Caitlin's going to go for 10,000. But do you think that Caitlin will have the same type of effect on WNBA cards, which really have not had that great of a market? Not saying that there wasn't a great market for hockey and all the other kind of stuff, but what do you think, from from that standpoint of what she could potentially do for WNBA stuff?
Undoubtedly, and it's already happened, to be honest. Like that's really where we're at with that is it's already happened. So again, in my job, I'm tracking a bunch of different trends and I'm talking to people. I always thought it was cool having a Twitter account with as many people in my community as I could because I could see a much bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was actually for me, there was an inflection point. Were you following the hobby during Project 2020, Michael?
Oh yeah.
So the
Oh yeah.
funniest thing, so I was super bullish on it, and I literally hit an inflection point because I saw something change like this overnight, but with so many people, which was I saw people that were getting interested, and every single day I saw new people were buying one. New people were saying, hey, I bought one today. Hey, I bought one today.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was literally a weekend when all of a sudden everybody in my feed, everybody in my DMs, everybody in my group chats, everybody in the Facebook group around it said, yeah, so I just placed an order for 20 of these. And that was when I said, oh, we just flipped supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
If it went from, 100 new people buying one to 100 people saying they bought 20, we just flipped supply and demand. Instead of growing, now it's everybody that's is in the hype. And that was Memorial Day weekend when Ken Griffey Jr.'s Keith Shore card was up for sale.
Bingo.
I literally saw it happening then, and I said it. I said it on that Monday, I think, or maybe late that Monday or Tuesday. I said it in a tweet somewhere. I was like, this is different. People are suddenly approaching this different, but it's something you can see when you're taking in 1,000 voices a day.
Yep.
So I say that to say, I've got WNBA Facebook groups that I talk to.
Oh, wow.
For district, for onboarding, and people that are big sellers in certain other Discord communities and things of that nature. And yeah, they are growing. The overall fandom is growing so strongly and so fastly, like it's already happening. And people are discovering cards. They didn't know trading cards existed for this. And interestingly enough, this is sort of what happened with women's soccer and part of my journey there. It's not just the cards. I'm actually a season ticket holder for Angel City, the Los Angeles club. But what I saw that made it fun was there was this huge growing popularity, and collecting usually trails that, because you have to have, even Topps has said this, nostalgia is the number one driver of collecting.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They've done studies and they've reported this at marketing conferences and at industry conferences. So you have to get the following in, which I think women's soccer has done the last few years. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, what else do I get to do? Oh, I can own a piece of cardboard of my favorite player. I want to do that. Oh, there's autographs. Oh, there's rookie cards. So I see that happening now with the WNBA, like it happened for women's soccer about 18 months ago. Just crazy.
Just and I think that's definitely going to happen. I mean, and it's not just her. I mean, I think there are some other people in this draft class that are going to do it. I think the interesting piece is going to be, what comes next. Like that was one of the things that I was curious to see how does Upper Deck, they have Bedard, right? I mean, you're talking about, people are saying generational talent. Oh my gosh, like Mario Lemieux, Wayne Lagreski, Connor McDavid type generational player and stuff. And it's gonna be interesting to see what they could do to continue to grow, that piece. WNBA, the same thing. Can the WNBA now, continue to grow with what is, what's happening, from that standpoint and everything. But just to go back to one thing you said, with the Project 2020, the Keith Shore one, and with the Griffey and Dom actually said, and it's true, it's not a good looking card. I just don't understand why that card. When you look at
that's also it. That's the indicator, is like when we're just buying, and we're buying that many not because we want the card, but because we anticipate the market. That's the shift. That's when this is not going to work. That's when demand flips and it's not there. Right. Everybody's going to want this, so I'm going to buy up more than I need.
Right.
Versus toilet paper during that time.
Right.
Everybody did want toilet paper, right?
Right.
So it matched when people were buying it up, not saying that was ethically right. And I never once flipped toilet paper, just for what it's worth. Yeah. But just saying, like, supply and demand work that way, where it's, there's those indicators of, wait, why is everybody buying 20 of this card? Like ask someone. People say, oh, I'm buying 20 of this. Well, why? Oh, because these are all going up. Well, right. again,
No.
getting back to what I said a long time ago. Now we've been friends for a long time today, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Once you say, "Oh, it's all doing X, Y, Z,"
Yep.
that's the minute that it changes.
Right. Oh
You
yeah,
know?
for sure, for sure. It was kind of like, I think the other interesting thing that tops, and I had a buddy of mine who, I don't know if he's still doing it. We don't we don't talk cards that much anymore. I think he's kind of gotten away a little bit, but he started Topps Living Set,
Hmm.
and he said that, like one of the most expensive cards was like the Nick Markakis card,
Yeah.
because it was a print on demand, and people are like, Nick Markakis, I ain't getting that card. So there,
Mhm.
the actual, the supply is low. So people looking to go ahead and I mean, I guess that, well, look, we know for sure there are definitely some people out there that are still going and buying every single one of those and have that full set and everything like that. And my son, my son and I, we did the hobby, together. We started this channel together and stuff like that. And he caught, then he became, 21, 22, and, things change and stuff like that. But he had said, hey, are you going to go back? I thought it was pretty cool. And I started to buy some of them. And then he's like, well, you're going to go back and, like try and complete the set. And then I started looking and I was like, no, because I'm never going to complete it.
Yeah.
It's the living set. It's right in the name. I mean, so how are you going? I mean, unless Topps goes out of business, that's the only way that set is going to end. They're always going to go ahead and keep adding, and adding more players and stuff in it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's very, very interesting that what they have done when they did Project 2020, and like my son for 2020, my son's a Mike Trout fan,
Hmm.
and uh, he had picked up a bunch, and the one he was missing was the Ermsey, which was out of that
Mhm.
whole Trout set. That, I believe, was the
The
shortest print
lowest.
run.
Yep, the lowest print run because it came out before all the hype, and so not as many people bought in. The
Right.
irony being, so I was buying Project 2020 from the beginning. I literally bought the first day's bundle.
Oh, nice.
The Ermsey card, when it first came out, people were like, the few of us that were buying Project 2020 at the beginning were like, whoa, that print run is crazy, because it was crazy relative to the 4 other cards that had come out at that time.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that was pretty funny. But so
Well,
your son, did he got that card now?
we actually got it for him as a college graduation gift.
That's fantastic.
So, and it was like, and it was and it was pretty cool. So he has all of them and stuff. And I told him, I said, hey, we have to make a display for it because it's cool
Mm,
that you got them, but kind of like, your slab, display there and like that. I'm like,
gotta get
we
it.
have to, right? We have to because he went ahead, and once he got to a point where, when we got into the hobby and stuff, and then he started to buy and buy and buy, and he wasn't buying to go ahead and flip or anything. He would buy one.
Mhm.
Oh, the new Trout came out, whoever the artist was, and he'd buy, the one and everything. But, he started probably at, like card whatever 6 or 7 of Trout, when he
Yeah.
started buying on a regular basis. And then as he started buying on a regular basis, the other one started going up in price. So he was trying to, nail him, as quick as he could. But the Ermsey one was always the one, that was so expensive. And what is
Yep.
so crazy about that card is, I mean, I haven't looked at it since, he graduated 3 years ago. No, 2 years ago. So, I mean, I was tracking that. He graduated in 2022. I actually bought that card in like sometime in 2021, like mid year 2021. So it was like just as the prices was, so I did okay with it. I still paid,
Mhm.
When you look at it, and I go, when I was looking at the history. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This card was going for $50 like 6 months ago. Son of a gun! I cannot believe it. What the heck? Now it's now it's 5, 6, 7 times, and I'm like, for crying out loud, what the hell? But it was what he needed. So that
Yeah.
like was technically like his first, you know, rainbow that he went ahead and finished everything. But I
Yeah.
got to tell him about the player break thing because um, Michael Chavis, who is a friend of our family,
Oh,
um,
that's cool.
yeah, so he collects him a lot. So I'll have to let him know about player breaks, and if Michael has a card in a break, I'm sure that'll be a that rather than buying when he was with
Yeah.
the Nationals or with Pittsburgh, rather than buying all of Pittsburgh when you don't care about. There's only one guy you care about. Why not just get that one guy? Especially if it's your
Exactly.
favorite player, if it's a player you follow and they switch teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you don't.
I especially love that for them. I don't think he's actually in platinum last year, unfortunately. But funny
No.
story. Outside of Project 2020, there's one card from Project 2020 that I lost the most money on. So I don't. Yeah, I saw a shift coming. Doesn't mean I didn't lose money too. I bought a Mark McGuire. I think it was a McGuire Shore actually for $800 during that craziness. Um, so I lost a good amount of money on that. But the second most I've ever lost on a card was on Michael Chavis's
What?
Bowman Superfractor that I bought for $1,500 and ended up having to sell for $900.
Oh
So I
wow!
lost $600 on that card.
Holy
But
cow!
yeah, I did at one point own his Superfractor 1 of 1 non-auto Bowman first.
Oh wow! If my
So
son watches this, he'd be like going, "I can't believe it! Holy cow!"
yeah,
Yeah, but that's yeah, that the whole the way that whole thing is going to go, with the special sets and stuff along those lines. I mean, I get it; it makes sense and everything, but I wonder if they're getting away from some of that because now they're doing so much with inserts.
hmm
There's so many different inserts coming into play now. When you look at it from that standpoint, of you know, I mean, even like you look at the Bowman that just came out. I mean, there's all those inserts and stuff and everything. So I think it's interesting the way the hobby's going. Are you a card show guy?
I try to be. Gosh, the biggest problems are time.
Mm.
Kids, if my
Yep.
kids enjoyed it or my wife enjoyed it, that would make it a lot easier. But time's a big part. And then the other thing is sometimes I go to them and they're just like, there's so much that's overpriced. I'm like, I just wasted 3 hours.
Yep.
Sometimes, not always. I know there's good ones out there. It's just tough because the risk versus reward of it makes it really hard for me. For me,
Hmm.
um, my wife always tells me neither of us have enough hours in the day. We
Yep.
bought a new house recently, flooded yesterday.
Oh no.
I hate owning a home. Like all these things, we're constantly fighting nature. We got the 3 kids. I've got a job that has me doing crazy things and a hobby that has me doing crazy things. Like podcasts after putting the kids to bed, which is great and fine. And I actually love that I can work after the kids go to bed.
Yep.
But it makes a few things currently not worth the time when there's a risk factor. Like, I don't know what's going to be at the card show, and there may be nothing I want. There may be no women's soccer and Walton Goggins cards.
Right.
And I am in an area, even though it's not exactly Chicago, I'm in the Midwest where Cubs cards are still overpriced. You know what I'd love to see? Do we still have people watching that are trying to make some money on cards?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, we do.
Here's what you got to do is you got to go to cards. If you're in Massachusetts, for example, go to card shows and buy the Dodgers cards. And then go find like a Dodger specific community, either on District or on Facebook. I don't care, but go take those same Dodger cards that are a quarter to $1 there and go sell them for $4 to the dudes that are actually in LA buying cards.
Right.
If I had time, that's what I would do. I would go around to regional shows and I'd buy cheap Cubs stuff at shows in LA and sell it to collectors back here. And I'd buy cheap Dodger stuff and sell it to the collectors there, because it
Yeah.
is funny how regional pricing impacts things. And a card shop in, New York can sell Yankees cards for much more than a card shop in Omaha, and vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, I do that. I mean, I'm when I'm not traveling, I'm right outside, just northwest of Atlanta, and I go to I'll go to the local card shop, or I'll go to a card show and everything, and there'll be plenty of, Mets cards, that are, like you said, in the dollar bin stuff and everything, that, where if I was, back on Long Island and stuff, and I went to a card show, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to, that card wouldn't be in a dollar bin.
Yep.
It might be in a top loader. It might be in with the $3 cards or the $4 cards. So you make that point. Everything. That's why, like, when I travel, depending off my schedule lets me, I try and find one or two, like, local card stores, and I do what you're doing. Like, I'll say, like, if I'm in Alabama and I go to a card store, I will look for the Dodgers cards, the Mariners cards. I'll look for, like, the West Coast teams to look to potentially go ahead, and buy for, like you said, 50 cents or $1, then throw them up for $3, $4, $5, depending on what it is. Because sometimes, like you're saying, they don't see the value in it, because it's 3,000 miles away from where you are. So they're just thinking, I just got to get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cool opportunity to find some arbitrage, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't have time for it right now, unfortunately. So
have you ever been? So Maddie's in Indy. What part of the country are you?
I'm in Nebraska.
Oh, there you go. Omaha.
Yep.
Oh, I was just acting like Peyton Manning.
Yep.
But it's interesting. Like, I like going to I went to a national. Have you ever been to a national? Yeah, you've had to have been to a national.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I used to co-host the main stage at the national with the podcast that I ran for 6 years with GTS and Rob Bertrand.
Yeah.
So, yep. I used to be the guy with the microphone up there, which people think is like, they think that's bragging, and it's actually the opposite. The main stage is there to entertain the people that are usually, it's terrible, but the widows and orphans, right? Mm-hmm. Dad's at the card table and mom and the kids are sick of it, and so they want a place to sit down. So it was much more like family entertainment than it was like, oh, we are the kings of the national. But it was a ton of fun. Absolutely loved it. And but I love going to the national as a collector as well. The thing about the national that I don't get at the local card shows, unfortunately, is the community. And that's also probably the reason I don't need to go on card shows the same, is because I have, and this is what got me hooked back into collecting. It's not just the cards. It's when I found Twitter and I found the Twitter hobby. It was a community unlike any other. When I was a kid in Omaha, I could ride my bike to the card shop and meet the people at the card shop, but there'd be a rotating cast of 8 people, 12 people, right? And yeah, every kid on the block collected, but no kid collected like I did. Not even my older brother. And the kid next door who had way more money than us had every card. I couldn't afford Upper Deck. He had Upper Deck, and he threw it in a shoebox. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You got to sleeve those. See, this was the world in the 1990s. Well, then the internet came along, and all of a sudden, through the internet and through social networks that unite people based on hobbies, I can find a dude in New York who's been collecting since the 1980s, who's had a Dwight Gooden rookie card in his wallet since 1985 or 86. and knows every single thing about sports cards. I can find people that love sports cards more than I do.
Right.
And I can learn from them and I can follow their journey. I can get corrected on social media, which I love. There's nothing I love more than posting something and somebody saying, no, did you know that in 1997 Sportsflix did that, not Tops in 2009?
Right.
I love that kind of stuff. And the internet allows us to have that. So it's hard pressed for me to find that community at a card shop here in Omaha. God bless all the card shops in Omaha.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to find that at a card show. I have a few really good friends here in Omaha that do go to the card shows. And so, Mike, if you're still awake and watching this, I mean, but Mike, I go to your house, right?
Yeah.
My Omaha Mike,
Yeah.
like we go to his house and watch games and talk and share our collections. So it's just kind of like a mix in the middle for me. Whereas the National, yes, my friend from New York comes to the National every year. My friend from Tennessee comes to the National every year. My friends who own a card shop in the wine country in Sonoma in California come each year. So it's like the National it's not the cards, it's the people. That's why I love going to the National. So,
and I think so. My son and I went in 2021 for the first time to Chicago,
yeah,
and it was it was overwhelming because you're going around. When you hear about the Mickey Mantle, right, and you see a picture of it, it's one thing.
mm-hmm.
But when you stand right next to a case and you're looking at it and you're a foot away from it, it's like, wow, you have to be kidding me. With that type of thing and everything. And, and it was cool. I honestly, I've been to both the two Chicago ones. I didn't go to the one in Atlantic City in 2022. We are scheduled to go to Cleveland this year. Matty Ice, who's in the chat, we're gonna, we're doing an Airbnb with him and a couple other guys and stuff, and so it's gonna be a lot of fun and everything. But I know for a fact that at the two that I've been to, I haven't seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because number one, you just start walking, you can't. It's a museum. I mean, that's really what it is. And to your point, I don't necessarily know how many deals, let's say, are had. I'm not saying deals don't get done, but I don't know how many like true deals you can go ahead and find there. I thought when we went this last time in 2023, there was people were not negotiating the way I had heard that people negotiated in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, yeah, I got 23.50 on this card. I'll do 23 as my bottom line, and I'm not budging off. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, hey, if I give you, 2,100 in cash, it's like I was like, no, I want 2,300, and I was at one table, and guy, he had a card for 2,300. And the guy said, and the guy goes, and I only want, because I only want to do it through a credit card, which I couldn't understand. The guy goes, I have 2,150 in cash I will give to you, and you don't pay any fees, credit card fees and everything. And the guy was like, no, I want the 2,300. I'll do it on the card. And I was like, damn. The guy's like, but I could go like to another table because I want to buy this one. And the guy's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, wow, okay. But when you talk about the main stage, our first one we went to in 2021, Heritage Auctions. Oh, what's the guy? The Vintage Breaks, I think is their name. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Leighton Sheldon.
Yeah. Yep. And somebody else. There was a third person. What they were doing was they had a immaculate. It was Luca's rookie year. So 7 card in an immaculate box, and they were picking random people. And Heritage Auctions came over to SGC's booth because SGC was not doing anything with grading. They were basically running like free breaks, and they were doing immaculate and flawless and everything, and free to join. All you had to do was show up at their booth with an SGC card and a slab, and they gave you a ticket, and they put it in the hopper, and they pulled it out and everything. Yeah. So they came over, and my son won a spot in that break.
That's awesome.
And
that's awesome.
In the immaculate boxes, spot number 5 is the hit. Cool. So they randomize the names. Yeah. And his name comes spot number 5.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there and I'm going, I know the odds are really, really low, but holy crap, if he can get one of the big cards, how the hell are we going to get out of here?
Yeah.
How are we going to do this and everything? And he got we got the hit of the box was a 2 out of 14 cat our on-card auto with like a 2 or 3 color patch, and stuff like that and everything. And it was it was great and stuff. I mean, so the National, I like the National a lot. I'm looking forward, to going again and stuff, and it's like, and many people go, they go, so when you went to the National, what were you looking for? And I go, I don't know. It sounds weird, but like, I don't have like a Grail card, believe it or not. I really don't. Like, there's cards that I
not the Ryan Kuzman.
No, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's really, I mean, would I like that? Yeah, but it's like, if I never have it, it won't. Like, I don't really have a like, hey, I will do whatever I got to do to find this one card. Would I like to? Yes. Would I like to find a Tom Seaver rookie card? Yes. But if I never find one, okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not, it's not that big. Like, I don't, when I go, I don't say, because I know like there are people who go, hey, I have a list of 5 cards that I'm going to get when I go to National. I have, these are the 5 cards I'm trying to work on and everything.
Yeah.
When you go back to that booth where they were chucking, I don't know. I forgot who it was, but that last time, and when he says chucking, he means chucking. They weren't just taught like the little card stands, the hard plastic ones. They literally were throwing them overhand. They weren't like flipping them over. Like, and some little kid got hit in the head. It was, I hate to say it was funny, but it was funny not in a ha-ha type of way. But it was funny to see them chucking, actually throwing, all kinds of stuff into the crowd to, for people to go ahead and grab. And, then there's, 40-year-old guys, reaching and grabbing up in front of a 12-year-old kid, and they're like psyched because they got a free packet of Beckett sleeves. It's like, come on, man, give it to the damn kid. Go buy the sleeves, for crying out loud. You're at the freaking National. Let a kid go ahead and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I think you're talking about Twitter and everything, and K-Dub said the same thing you did about the Twitter community, that it was like, that, he mentioned you and a couple of people like you were part of this groundswell of, the sports card stuff on Twitter when it really wasn't, as big as it is now. Like, you were like, the founding fathers per se of the little group that you have. Well, not, but he's saying like the group that you guys are a part of now that talk a lot amongst, whatever thing with the following and stuff. He said, it started when, there was, he remembers when he started, there were probably only about, there was a handful of prominent people to go ahead and follow, and now, there's a lot more people going ahead and, and, being on it. So it's, it's interesting.
Well,
social media is tough for me. I'm an old man.
Let's close this out by saying, because I'm looking at Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's still Twitter to me. That's how old it's still twitter.com. I see twitter.com.
Oh, I agree.
And I'm looking at Huddle Cards, twitter.com/Huddle Cards, and I see 96 followers.
Yeah.
So we got to see what we can do to get that up to 1,000. Because come on, man, you've got great takes, you've got great passion, you've got a lot of fun. And I see, the comments coming in already on YouTube and how much fun people are having. Well, what I love about Twitter is that can be a 24/7 type thing. So let's make sure everybody that's checking this out, if you're not already, go give Michael a follow and go retweet. Here's the thing about Twitter that people don't do enough. Like and retweet other people's stuff. Matty Ice, you don't have to tell me how old you are, but think about how old you are. Dom, how old are you? Michael, I see you on stage. I can see that we're at least the same age. We are old enough to remember. Our mothers had this adage, the kids today won't understand, which is if you want to get a letter, you have to write a letter.
Write a letter.
Right? Mail doesn't just show up. And that's how too many people approach social media. Yeah, I'll put out my stuff and people will follow me. No. But if you go and scratch someone else's back, or you pat them on the back, or you compliment them, or you engage in their conversation, they'll engage back. They'll click and say, who's talking to me? Oh, it's Huddle Cards. Oh, cool. He talks too. He shows his face. He's a real legit person. Yeah, I'll follow him back. I'll engage. So it's really crucial that you like and engage with other people in the hobby community in order to get that better community around you as well. And it's really funny. That used to be really people used to love to do it. And then they got wiser and wiser to social media, and it made them jaded and bitter in a sense of like, well, I see engagement farming, or people are just trying to get engagement, or Elon pays people now. Yeah, like you make $14 a month from your Twitter account that costs $9 to have verified. Like, I don't know anybody that is actually making, and I know some really big accounts. I don't know anybody that's Twitter earnings is worth any sort of change in their content at the end of the day. But here's the thing. The people you like, your engagement improves not their Twitter monetary value, but makes a huge difference in their ability to keep doing what they're doing. Because let me share this with you. So I have 50,000 followers. I like to think of it as 50,000 community members.
Mm-hmm.
When I send a tweet, Twitter shows it to 500 of those people, 1%. And then it stops because every single second there are new people creating new tweets and new content. And Twitter can only handle so much. So it sends it to 500 people and then stops. But if one of those 500 people clicks, oh, I like this, then it's going to send it to another 500 people.
Really?
If one of those people retweets it, so retweets aren't about reaching your audience. It's actually about reaching more of my audience, just as an example. So if you go and retweet my post, Twitter is going to take that as an engagement signal that says, oh, we should show this to more of Ivan's followers. So if we all support each other in that, and instead of just being like, well, I'm not going to retweet other people because I don't want my audience, like I don't want my community like that. It's like, no, you're actually helping their post to get to more of their people. And the more you do that for others, the more they'll do it for you. So just a little encouragement for everybody out here. First off, go follow Michael like I did. Go retweet his stuff because it's going to help him more than it actually like costs you. And there's no better, cheaper way to do that than just by doing a like or a retweet.
Yeah. And get on district and everything. I'm really surprised. We're wrapping up. I'll tell you one thing. I'm very, very surprised. So your buddy Dom, who goes ahead and has some of the he has some of the most interesting quotes like that. Dom, I got to say something while you're still here. I am extremely surprised that you did not ask Ivan if there was a sock community, because Dom is a sock guy.
You are?
Dom is a sock guy.
That's so cool. So we don't yet have one.
Look at that.
And that would be a cool, if you're in like sock Facebook groups or group chats or anything and you're passionate about it, yeah, jump on board.
Somebody else
do that first. Bid on cards first. Bid on cards late at night, and then in the morning, let's talk about creating a new community. But yeah, I love that. If you're into socks, yeah, let's make it.
Well, hey, Ivan, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's a great conversation. I appreciate it, so much. The insight, the district insight was incredible. You know, I'm definitely going to go ahead and and be signing up here after we sign off and stuff. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything, all the information you gave to everybody and stuff. I agree with Dami 100%. Stuff.
Thanks, Dom.
Fantastic, excellent. So again, thank you very much for coming. If you think of anybody, that might be a cool guest for me to go to, send me a DM on Twitter, and
I will.
I'll try and talk to them and see. That's what as I said, I got you when I had K Dub on. He was,
that's nice of him.
When I asked him, I was like, hey, if you could think of anybody, let me know. I'm not BSing or anything. You were the first person on the list that he sent me.
Well, that's awesome. He would be the first on mine. He's such a great guy, and I love him. And I love what he does with his YouTube shorts, his five hits.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, like, it's really cool. Go check out K-Dub's 5 hits after this. It takes 5 minutes, right?
Yep.
And then come here and check out Michael's next conversation. Like, that's the thing that builds the hobby. And I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you, Dom. I see that you're having some fun out there. I appreciate. I saw who was the other one?
Matty Ice.
Matty Ice. I saw that you signed up, so that's pretty cool too. Yeah, we'll have some fun. I'm going to be bidding on a few of the Cubs. I think I already am. I think somebody outbid me on Morel, so I got to go back and hit that one up.
Watch out, Matty.
It was not Maddie on Morel yet. It was somebody from a day ago.
Okay.
So I still got a shot there.
There you go.
Let's go see.
All right, hey everybody, thanks a lot. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out. Anybody in Twitter land who's watching or on Rumble who's watching, thanks a lot for hanging out with us. Much appreciated. We'll be back next Wednesday night. No guest as of right now, but the following 2 weeks already got some people lined up. So looking forward to it. And again, Ivan, thank you so much. It is much appreciated for you taking time, out of your evening to spend it with me and some of the people that are here. So much appreciated. Thank you very much.
You bet, Michael. It's been a blast.
All
Thank
right.
you.